All right, peeps, what's happening? Welcome back. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I'm just got to come on to a wee video, but before I get into it, Ashley has been arrested and was due up at court today. No, I didn't go to court. I'm waiting to see what the outcome is, and it's just one of these things you need to wait out. I think it was a non-appearance she was at court for, and obviously I'm hoping she gets back out, but I'll no find out till later what the script is where. No, in fact I've just got a missed call for her mum, but I've just seen, but I'll phone her back once I make this video because I can't be stopping and starting again. But I hope she gets out, but non-appearance. I've not really been at court for things like that, so wouldn't know. You would think that they would keep her in, but here's hoping. My legs are killing me for that class the other day. For some reason, I'm always the pain's always more noticeable on the second day as opposed to like the next day after the class. So I'm back tomorrow with Christopher. So here's looking forward to that anyway. But here we go. So this case is a well-known Scottish case that I've never really touched on before. Excuse me. I remember when this guy was sentenced. I've never met him. I'd like to say his name's Michael Ross. He was a army veteran. He'd seen combat, deployed to Iraq, and was convicted of the murder of a Bangladeshi man who was working in an Indian restaurant in Orkney. Now, Orkney's not the type of place you would associate with murder in Scotland. And I think the funny thing was this was like their first murder in like 25 years or something. So must have been a big deal, you know what I mean? What happened was it was 1994, so I was like 12 years old then. And somebody wearing a balaclava strolled into an Indian restaurant and shot a waiter in the head, walked straight back out. Now, 94, 1994, but this guy was convicted in 2008. And I remember hearing that we were all sitting in a classroom, a couple of high profile guys, right? And we were talking about how this guy, this Michael Ross, I think he tried to escape for court. And when he got found guilty, and it wasn't successful, but the cops had found his car, right? And it was loaded with fucking guns and ammo, survival gear. So kind of leads you to believe that this guy was in the eventuality he was found guilty of murder. He was got to go on the run and no be taken alive is what I would have thought. And I remember hearing a couple of times how can't remember what jail I was in, and I'd heard they'd been caught with some fucking. It supposedly. This is just what I heard. Supposedly he'd been caught with some sort of saw in his cell. Like, the guy obviously knows what he's doing. Quite impressive, and he'll be a security nightmare for these crews because he's military training, because he's actually saw combat. He was a sniper in the Black Watch, right? So quite an interesting individual. No, you're run of the mill guy in a Scottish prison as well. Do you know what I mean? But apparently he tried to escape like 3 times, and I just seen him in the paper recently. So I was like, I've never made a video about this guy because I hadn't really like looked too much into it. But I just thought I would make a video about it anyway. And as I say, I've never met the guy, but he's serving life. I can't remember what his recommendation was, the punishment part of his sentence. But what can I got me to do this video as well was I watched a documentary on Amazon Prime. It's called Murder in the Isles or something. The Orkney Assassin, Murder in the Isles. So I would recommend anybody that's interested in this case to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can watch it. But one of the things that, now, let me just say that I'm not well versed in this case, right? But one of the surprising things that I've noticed is there is people claiming that this is a miscarriage of justice. So I want to be kind of careful how I come at it, if you know what I mean, because there is people taking up the case and all this type of stuff, and lawyers taking up the case. So I don't know if there's like more stuff to this that I don't know about, but I want to kind of delve into the stuff, just some news articles to kind of give people back overview of the case, if you want to call it that. Because obviously there'll be some people, why is a fucking Ann Summers advert showing up in my video, man? Too funny, mate. The Orkney Assassin Unmasked, how schoolboy 15 escaped justice for 14 years for racist point-blank execution of Indian waiter and whose parents still believe real killer is out there. Now, this guy, the guy, Michael Ross, his dad was actually convicted of perverting the course of justice, for what I understand, because he was a cop in Orkney, and apparently the bullets used in this murder were identical to bullets that he had at home or he had in possession. So it's circumstantial, but it's pretty, to me, that's pretty strong, because what's the odds? What is the odds, right? You know what I'm saying? New details have been revealed about a schoolboy who swerved justice for 14 years after his racist murder of a restaurant waiter. Michael Ross went on to be hailed for heroics in the First Gulf War as he served as a Black Watch sergeant. He joined the famous Scottish regiment at the age of 17 and progressed through the ranks, eventually becoming the sergeant of a sniper platoon, and his service included a tour of duty in Iraq in which comrades were killed. So that's not, I mean, he's a serious dude, I would say, man. But he remained free for years before being jailed for the shooting to death at point blank range of Shamsuddin Mahmood at an Orkney Islands restaurant in Scotland. Ross was finally brought to justice when jailed for life, aged 29 in June 2008, found guilty of carrying out the killing as a 15-year-old teenager. So, excuse me. So in June 2008, I was in shots. I was just gone for my first parole attempt. I was. So 5 years into my sentence. Now a new investigation has shed new light on Ross as he and his family continue to say he was wrongly convicted. He was ultimately found guilty of what was described as a savage, merciless and pointless murder of Mr. Mahmood. Yet his parents are continuing to insist he is innocent and the real killer remains on the loose, as suggested in a new Amazon Prime video documentary about the case. Now, that was the one I watched, and that's clearly a photo that was taken him when he was questioned at the time. And that's him when he's got to court. 29-year-old. That's his parents. And this is the victim. This is the guy who was shot. Shamsuddin Mahmood, Bangladeshi national, shot dead working in that restaurant. The killing of 26-year-old Mr. Mahmood came on June the 2nd, 1994, when a masked man walked into the Orkney Islands only Indian restaurant and executed his victim before calmly walking away. Ross's trial in 2008 held that, as a youth, he harboured extreme racist views that drove him to hunt down and murder one of the island's few Asian residents. He became the main suspect just months after the murder, but police did not have enough evidence to charge him. The breakthrough came when a new witness walked into Kirkwall police station in 2006 with a note saying he had seen the killer in public toilets on the night of the murder brandishing a gun, and identified him as Michael Ross. Ross's lawyer, Donald Finlay, defending, insisted it was unthinkable for a 15-year-old to have committed such a crime, suggesting the killing bore all the hallmarks of a professional hit. But at the end of a 6-week trial, jurors took just 4 hours to find Ross guilty of murder by a majority verdict. Ross was subsequently sentenced to life behind bars with a minimum of 25 years. So that doesn't mean he'll be released after 25 years. What that means is that's the first time, that'll be when his first parole attempt at parole. And no, a lot of somebody getting parole the first time is almost unheard of in our prison system. He insists he is innocent of the killing, and last month told the Orkney newspaper that he was doing a 25-year life sentence for something I didn't do. It's a photo of him there. Scorpion. Where are we, Scorpion? This Scorpion machine pistol was found in the car hired by Michael Ross. So he's hired a motorhome. He's had that in it. Aye, took that to court. Know what I mean? Mad. His parents have also rallied to his defence in the new documentary called The Orkney Assassin that will be made available on Amazon Prime Video this Sunday. Promotional material ahead of the broadcast suggests there is still a shadow of doubt still lingering and dividing opinion in the Orkney Islands to this day. Speaking to the programme makers, Ross's mother, Moira Ross, recalls the moment she asked the then teenager whether he was a killer after his initial arrest. She says, "I remember him coming home with the detective and he went up to his room and sat there, and I did go up and ask him. I said, 'Did you shoot that man?' And he said, 'No.' I just can't get over the look on his face when I asked him that." Mr. Mahmood had been living on the Orkney Islands for just 6 weeks before his death and was planning to return home to Bangladesh to wed his fiancée. His brother, barrister Abdul Shafuddin, paid tribute at Ross's 2007 trial, saying of Mr. Mahmood, "He was our baby brother, and at least we know the person who killed him will be punished." Ross was also found guilty by majority of attempting to defeat the ends of justice by disposing of the murder weapon and changing his clothing. Looks like a war photo there. During the trial, it emerged that his policeman father, Edmund Ross, had been jailed for hampering the investigation by withholding crucial evidence. Advocate Deputy Brian McConaughey QC told the court that prosecution's case against Ross was based on compelling, unanswerable circumstantial evidence. When the guilty verdict was announced, Ross leaped from the dock and tried to escape before being led to the cells, having been wrestled to the ground by a court official. See, I was going to say that. When we were sitting in the classroom talking about this, when he'd just been captured, when they had found a motor outside the court with all this stuff in it, guns, ammo, survival gear. I was like, I'm sure I heard they try to jump the dock, but I wasn't wanting to kind of say that, and then turned out it was a lot of shit. You know what I mean? But I remember one guy saying this high profile prisoner, right? And I remember him saying, he didn't say it to me, he said it to my company. He says, imagine how useful he would be to me or something. I was like, all right. Fuck's it. Right, where were we? So he had been one of 12 soldiers decorated for outstanding service in Iraq in 2005 and was even mentioned in dispatches for showing bravery following 2 improvised explosive attacks in North Babil. Yet his downfall eventually came when a new witness walked into Kirkwall police station in 2006 with a note saying he had seen the killer in public toilets on the night of the murder, brandishing a gun, and identified him as Michael Ross. Ross had been questioned as a 15-year-old in relation to Mr. Mahmood's death after two witnesses had suggested they saw him wearing the same balaclava and dark clothing as the murderer in Woodland a fortnight earlier. But he was only charged with lying to police and interfering with our witnesses. Who the fuck? See, I've noticed about 4 spelling mistakes, grammar errors in this article already. Who writes this shit? With our witnesses. I don't know if that's meant to be with witnesses, interfering with witnesses, or interfering with a witness. But anyway, he received a 4-year jail term in 1997. His eventual murder trial was told fucking how? Sorry for the outburst, but one thing I do hate is somebody who's in a job like this making so many errors. Look, told how. I know it's a typo, it's meant to say how, mate. No fucking now. How the anonymous letter writer, later named as William Grant, told of seeing Ross in public toilets near the restaurant, clad in it should be in a balaclava and dark clothes on the night of Mr. Mahmood's killing. Right. That looks like a letter he's wrote to somebody. Jurors also heard that Ross had told a fellow army cadet as a schoolboy that blacks should be shot and had textbooks scrawled with swastikas, SS symbols and slogans suggesting death to the English. That must have been doing well in the army. His father, Edmund Ross, tells the new Amazon Prime Video documentary, "I didn't believe it. I knew my son for all those years. Wow, what man? Fucking son. Is this the son, the Daily Mail? Fucking sort it out, mate. I knew my son for all those years and he never showed any tendencies or anything like that I would expect him to go out and shoot anyone." Blah, blah, blah. Right, so, right, that was that. So you kind of see it's a lot of kind of circumstantial stuff. But at the same time, I don't know. There is a lot of question marks on this, but there is I know this well-known lawyer taking up his case. Wait a minute, I find it. Boom. Is that it? Is this it? Aye. So Amar Anwar, his name is, right? This guy's like, he's a kind of well-known lawyer in Scotland, takes up a lot of high-profile cases. So man convicted of 1994 Orkney restaurant murder is innocent, claims top lawyer. Leading criminal lawyer Amar Anwar believes the case of a former soldier convicted of the murder 31 years ago of a restaurant waiter is a miscarriage of justice. So obviously he's been on this Daily Record podcast. Lawyer Amar Anwar has called for the man convicted of the racially motivated murder of an Asian restaurant waiter to be set free. The human rights campaigner believes that former Black Watch Sergeant Michael Ross is a victim of a miscarriage of justice and wants his case referred back to the appeal courts and conviction and life sentence overturned. And Anwar says there is no evidence to show that he carried out a racially motivated killing. Michael Ross was found guilty in 2008 of shooting Bangladeshi waiter Shamsuddin Mahmood in the Mumtaz Indian restaurant in Kirkwall, Orkney in 1994. At the time of the murder, Ross was only 15. After a trial at the High Court in Glasgow, Ross was told he must serve 25 years before he can be considered for parole. Suspicion first fell on the teenager after his policeman father, a firearms specialist, see I didn't know that, told senior officers that he possessed the same ammunition as was used in the killing. Ross, who was an army cadet at the time, was identified as a man seen wearing a balaclava in Woods around 2 weeks before the murder. 12 years later, new evidence came from local man William Grant, who told police he had seen Ross in the evening of the murder wearing a balaclava and handling guns in toilets near the crime scene. Mr. Grant also claimed he witnessed the youth shouting racial abuse outside the restaurant just weeks before the murder. A campaign, Justice for Michael Ross, has been launched on Orkney, which Anwar's Glasgow firm is backing. Why did the guy take this long to come forward if he knew that? Because Imagine in a place like Orkney, right? Everybody must know everybody. Or well, Kirkwall, I think that's like the main town. So how the fuck did that guy take that long to come forward if he knew at the time that this was the guy who done it? Interesting question. In an exclusive interview with Criminal Record, our new weekly podcast, the lawyer said, "We have represented Michael for a few years now and need new evidence to get the keys to open the cell door and for a miscarriage of justice application. It strikes me as incredible that a 15-year-old boy could walk into a restaurant with a balaclava and walk directly up to an individual, shoot them at point blank range, and then walk out and leave nothing of themselves." See if I'm being deadly honest, see when I take this whole, well, I'm not saying he did or he didn't do it, but let me tell you that judging by his skill set, this would not surprise me in the slightest if he done that. I'm just saying. I kind of know a wee bit about human nature, and I'm not saying it's in his nature or whatever. I'm just saying when I look at his skill set, there's not a lot of evidence. If there is any evidence, it's all eyewitness testimony and circumstantial evidence. But the only thing I would say is he's been to war, he's fought in Iraq. I don't think violence is beyond his capabilities, you know what I mean? Especially precision violence. This was done with precision. 15-year or 50-year, know what I mean? Whatever age the person was, whoever's done this, know what I mean? Anwar says there are also concerns that 15-year-old Ross was interviewed in 1994 about the murder by police without a lawyer present. He also described the evidence of Mr. Grant as fanciful. The lawyer is appealing to anyone with information in the 31-year-old murder to come forward. He added, "There must be people on the island who know much more than they knew at the time, and with the passage of time will feel guilt or have a conscience, and will one day give that information, which means we have a miscarriage of justice application. There were always questions over whether it was someone outside the island or a gangland execution." Gangland execution. It's mad how somebody gets shot and they automatically put it down to gangland executions. Like, he works in a fucking Indian restaurant, mate. Do you know what I mean? Just because a gun's been used doesn't mean it's gangland related. Anwar hopes to present any new evidence to the Scottish Criminal Cases Review Commission, who have the power to refer convictions back to the appeal courts. The lawyer added there was evidence of people having turned up at the restaurant in the days before shouting abuse at Shamsuddin. There is nothing to show that Michael Ross carried out a racially motivated murder. Right, so there is people believing the guy's innocent, so you need to kind of tread carefully, if you get what I'm saying. But very, very well known case. But I just want to look at one more wee thing. Right, hold on. Is this it? I want to show you something. Right, it wasn't that one. This is just kind of stuff that I've already covered, but there was one that I wanted to show. Hold on, right. There was one I wanted to show that's got like photos of what they found in the fucking in his motor, right? But so that's a photo of him and his camouflage stuff. Where is it? Look at this. You know what I'm talking about? Ah, it's fucking mental, mate. That's what was found in the back of his motor when he tried to jump the dock at the High Court. So he kind of gets this is how he gets into it. Racist murder of Michael Ross shows no remorse as he breaks 19-year silence over assassination of Indian waiter out on Orkney. So this isn't a very flattering article because they're basically slating him in it, but saying he shows no remorse, and He also revealed a plot to escape armed with explosives and a machine gun after his guilty verdict in October 2008. Ross bolted from the dock but tackled by an official yards from freedom. A hired car packed with guns was found in a nearby Tesco car park. In a letter from prison, Ross admitted smuggling a Scorpion machine gun from Kosovo, which he hid for 7 years. The gun, plus 545 rounds of ammo, a grenade, smoke bombs, knives, an air rifle and camouflage gear were in the car. It was feared that Ross planned to stage a killing spree, but in his letter he said the military side of me was thinking that I needed another option other than just rely on people I don't know. So I thought if it looks bad in the last week of my trial, I would just go and live in the hills and the highlands and just live off the land. I did all the planning on my own. My wife didn't know anything about it. I had done a few survival exercises in the army and a little conduct after capture training on my sniper section commander's course. I did have some army rations in my kit for emergencies, but it wouldn't have lasted long. In my kit, I had a sleeping bag, a bivy bag, whatever that is, poncho and a roll mat for sleeping and shelter. I had boots, camouflage, army uniform for hunting, fleece, waterproofs and some civilian clothes. I had cooking pots, condiments like salt, pepper, curry powders, also tea, coffee and sugar. I had several knives for skinning and cutting game and an axe to build shelters. I had an air rifle for hunting small game like rabbits, pigeons and pheasants. The Scorpion machine pistol I had was for hunting bigger game like roe deer. I know a lot of people will probably be thinking, yeah, right, a machine pistol for hunting, pull the other one. Funny you should say that, mate. Think the exact same thing. I got the Scorpion when I was in Kosovo. We had been doing searches and I found it. I know I should not have taken it and I know it was illegal to have it in Britain, but I thought, well, I'm not going to be using it for doing bad things like armed robbery or threatening and hurting people. I had the Scorpion for about 7 years, so the people who think I'm some kind of racist murderer, why was there no crime committed with it? When the verdict came back guilty, I just panicked and thought, fuck it. When I was caught, I could have fought and I could have got away, but that's not what I had planned. Shamsuddin was serving diners when he was shot in the head by Ross. The following year, 16-year-old Ross joined the army and served in Iraq. And then it's just explaining how the guy came forward and basically said that he seen him. After the guilty verdict at the High Court in Glasgow, the car with his equipment was found at a Tesco in the city's Sight Hill. That's a bit of a fucking... How would you got to get from Glasgow High to fucking Sight Hill? I suppose just up the road a wee bit, innit? Ross refused to give evidence and has never spoken of the crime, but in his letter to a friend he expresses no remorse for his crime. In his self-pitying letter, the dad of two said, during my trial, my future and the future of my children and wife was in the hands of other people who had their own agendas. The uncertainty of the unknown of what the outcome of the trial would be played on my mind. Would my children have their dad there to help bring them up, to give them support and encouragement, to give them a cuddle when they fall and hurt a knee? Would my wife have her husband to help provide for her and her family and to support her through the hardships of life? It was like I was planning for my own death and that it would no longer exist. Aye. So there you kind of have it, man. It's a bit of a mad case, that one, isn't it? This is a thing with crimes like this. It's in such an area of Scotland, way up north in the islands, that you wouldn't expect to hear about this there. But aye, it was a long time ago, but that's the thing. Justice always catches up with you for things like that. Do you know what I mean? Very, very seldom does somebody like get away with shit like that. Know what I mean? But I'm going to need to cut it there because I've got 5 missed calls for Ashley's mum, so I'm going to need to go and find out what's happening. But I'm probably going to jump on Derby Live later. So thank you everybody for tuning in and have a good night.